There, but
Mr. Chairman.
Honourable Phil Goff.
Well, can I first of all look? I was very praiseworthy of the minister answering the questions in part 2 of the bill. Unfortunately, he neglected it all to take the call to answer the questions on part 3. Maybe that's because he didn't feel he had enough time to do so. So perhaps you'd give him the latitude, Mr. Chairman, of enabling him to answer the 2 very clear questions that I think I repeated several times in this part of the bill, but in part 3 of the bill. So, you know, you haven't missed out, Minister. There is still the chance to come back and answer a couple of questions that I'm sure members of his own party would like to hear the answers about just as much as members on this side of the House. So, you know, talk to your officials if you don't know what's going on because you're not the minister and the real minister ain't here, and we all know why she ain't here. Just in passing, Mr. Chairman. Just in passing, can I come to part 4 of the bill, which is amendments to the Sentencing Act? And again, Mr. Chairman, the amendments that are proposed in part 4 are, I think, sensible. They enable victims to be compensated by losses not covered by the Accident Compensation Corporation, and we'd expect that to be the case. And they provide more opportunities for victims to participate in the restorative justice process. The interesting thing about this is that the Minister said earlier that restorative justice works, it improves outcomes. I think, Minister, you said in 37% of the cases. And restorative justice, which was in the Victims' Rights Act that I pushed through the House in 2002, is a good process. But again, for it to work, it needs to be properly resourced. It's not something we force on the victim. It is entirely in accord with the wishes of the victim. If the victim wishes to have a process, they should be able to. This is about victim choice. If they don't wish to have that process, then that should be up to them. They shouldn't be under any pressure to become involved in a restorative process. But if the evidence is that we're getting positive outcomes, and it does provide choices for victims, I do want to be reassured that the resourcing is in place for the restorative justice process. Because again, if I look at the regulatory impact statement, it says that the current service provision is limited, so the court can only be required to refer cases where the services are available. So perhaps the Minister could tell us in what percentage of cases are the services available, and in what percentage of the cases does the victim actually badly want a restorative justice process, but because of under-resourcing, that victim can't go through the process? So can the Minister please quantify when the restorative justice process will be available to a victim who very much wishes to participate in it, and when they won't be? And if the percentage of cases where the process won't be available is quite high, which I suspect to be the case, what is the Minister going to do to ensure that the resourcing is made available, so that the victim's right, in this case once again, is not a theoretical right, but a right that can be actually put in place because the resources are there to allow it to happen? Minister, you've been involved in the court process. You know that this is really important. So we need to know that this provision is not a theoretical provision that says, wouldn't it be nice for victims to be able to participate in restorative justice, but very sad, but never mind, there are no resources to allow that to happen. Because that's clearly the warning that the regulatory impact statement gives this House. So again, it is a vital question. I'll keep talking for a bit longer just so the Minister can get the answer from officials. I appreciate that he wants to answer this as well as the questions. He might know it off the top of his head. I mean, Judith Collins would know, but then Judith Collins isn't available apparently to answer the questions, and we know the reason for that, Mr. Speaker. So I know the Minister, I listened carefully to the Minister's partial answer to my question in an earlier clause, in an earlier part of this bill, and he talked about the offender levy being there to help out. But all of us know that that offender levy is pretty limited. All of us know that the warning given by officials was, hey, we can't do these things unless we reprioritise, that is, take it from other areas. So again, I'd like the Minister to address this question of resourcing. are the rights that we are promising victims sincerely, all of us in this House, promising them these rights sincerely, going to simply lead to disappointed expectations because the resources aren't there to allow restorative justice to happen? And perhaps the Minister could indicate, in how many cases, Mr Chair?
Phil Goff.
Oh, well, and I'll let the Minister answer in just one. Well, I'll let him answer now, and if he doesn't answer it fully, I can come back and ask him again.
Mr Chair.
Honourable Chester Morris.
Thank you, Mr Chair. And it's